I generally cry.
Good afternoon, we're on the Arts Hub and we have special guests in here today. We have David Eggleton and Richard Wallis.
Hello.
So we're doing a live today, we're doing poems, songs and an interview. So welcome David.
Thank you, it's pleased to be here.
Nice to have you back. Yeah. Great, we're pretty much just going to launch straight into a live song, aren't we?
A puddle of silver makes a tumbled host of Aotearoa, spun on wooden counters, drop 5-cent coin. Makes the take a penny for soap, candles, matches, for the paper, the milk, drop 5-cent coin. When the whole world was the size of a gobstopper, someone with a ramp on a glass top, with a tap on a glass top, drop 5-cent coin. Once it carried decimal weight in head, handed down from sovereigns and crowns, drop 5-cent coin. Bomb, copper, ding, electrum, shiner, tanner, zack, passed on pocket to pocket, drop 5-cent coin.
Yeah, I noticed with that, probably basically just keep rolling it up along. And it seems to quite place rather than waiting for the white cue. Just roll.
Keep rolling.
Yeah, keep
rolling. Keep rolling.
Yeah,
Keep rolling.
yeah.
Mina Stinson Crandon. She declared her psychic powers were outstanding. She believed she was a match for Harry Houdini, but her applesauce and her way with a cha-cha did not impress the great Houdini. She levitated on wires, she swayed around. He always kept both feet on the ground. How the crowd roared and cheered for the great Houdini.
Woohoo! Well, I mean,
So, just a little anecdote.
you can see why he would be anxious about that stuff, because I guess people always say, how did that really happen?
Yeah.
And just people trying to pull the wool over people's eyes.
Yeah. I mean, it was a way also of kind of memorialising those kinds of spiritualism, which is really big at that time, the occult.
Yes, I was thinking black magic.
And a lot of people kind of believed in it. Maybe they were sucked in, but they got a lot of maybe sustenance, spiritual nourishment. 5-cent coin, drop 5-cent coin.
This is the age of the Anthracene age, an age when you want to tear the thumping from your chest, an age when all buses should kneel on request. This is an age of Budamus Maximus Day, an age of too long didn't read, an age of laughed out loud till I puked, an age of not a real person, an age of FOMO, YOLO, of just freaking Google, of good for you.
Kia ora tātou. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce you now to a very special person, Poet Laureate of Aotearoa, New Zealand. This is David Eggleton. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a warm hand and a big welcome.
Hello everyone, I am the Poet Laureate of Aotearoa. You may be wondering actually what that means. It sounds like the patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Church, but in fact it means that I go around and advocate for poetry in New Zealand and speak out on behalf of poets and sort of lead the big parade with this, my taiha. Drifting cone. Under the slowly drifting cone of Taranaki, when evening stretches out from the mountain, traces of its rivers bind me to you. Always I feel the cold fire of your kiss, that frozen fire that scalds my memory still. The elixir of your lips, where love fixed it so that I should taste like tears and rain, your distant indifference smouldering to ash. Your distant indifference smouldering to ash. Distant indifference. Distant indifference. Distant indifference. Ash. The scent of ferns you are knotted, the crystal haze of mist whitely shimmering on the bare, on the sea swell of your bare salty flank. The mane of night on your shoulders of snow, and the rare minerals of your eyes that flashed. Your distant indifference smouldering to ash. Your distant indifference smouldering to ash. Your distant indifference smouldering to ash. To ash. Thank you. Sunburned, 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 sunburned. Skin-eating cells and core creams. Skin sleepy with daydreams. Skin smoothed with emulsions. Skin bitten, sweaty with compulsions. Sunburned, sunburned, sunburned. Sunburned, sunburned, sunburned. Skin of nosy noses, skin of chuck chins, skin of pink rashes of twisted grins, skin of the tanned, skin of the bold, skin bare temple, saggy and old. Sunburned, sunburned, sunburned. Sunburned, sunburned, sunburned.
Coming over to the man himself, the second best New Zealander in New Zealand, next to the Prime Minister. Please give it up for Michael David.
Kia ora, thank you very much. Great to be here on these Waitangi Day celebrations in the Octagon this afternoon. I am David Eggleton. I am the current Poet Laureate of Aotearoa, New Zealand. This honour was bestowed on me in 2019 and my term expires in 2022. Not stony silence and kiwi back blocks, the quiet rustling of ferrets and stoats, the blether of sheep, the blither of wind, road gangs scraping shovels in 2/4 time, bang bang of settlers throwing up a house, diggers back and forth toss screwball yarns, stock whips crack and bullockies curse, a steam train crosses 65 bridges, old guard swan song hee-haw of Bonassus, while Bob Semple crowed as he rode the land. It seems he failed to catch the royal ear, magpies quaddle oodle ardle wardle doodle, heard as cat bell and dog whistle remix, motivating truck drivers ditto that uptick, bogans cashed up, await gentrification, seeking a personal tutor, an NZ lit, skim and scam, born by budget jet, arrived from Greece to fleece supermarket flocks, a crusader caped in silver fern flag, conjures Anne Zachary from an army surplus bag, the gurgle of a politician's liquid voice, signs uncashable checks in front of cameras with the silver plume of a heron feather, white gold pipeline chugging towards town, irrigator stutter sucking the wellbore dry, bring the sound and fury of Moo Moo land. Hear the hoofbeats of stampeding herds, be last man standing in a rolling mall, and from deep depression in the Tasman Sea, be rescued by blood of the underdone lamb. It's the sound and the fury, the sound and the fury, the sound and the fury, the sound and the fury. Thank you. Story sown in seeds of grass and read by generations from the concrete tree of Sky Tower down. Shearers left nothing growing on the sheep's back, and clumps were pulled out gully by gully.
That was the 3 standing ovations. Extraordinary, especially the one in the interval. First half, standing ovation after the first half.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's wicked. And a few people turned up.
Here we go.
So I wrote this called, it's about corporate speak and how we were brainwashed into kind of believing certain things which turned out not to be true after all. And this is called Song of the Market Actor.
Aotearoa's best and brightest writers, with workshops, readings, discussions, and lots of great books to discover.
Joining us this morning to preview some of the key events of the Dunedin Writers and Readers Festival is David Eggleton. David, of course, currently New Zealand Poet Laureate. He has been the Robert Burns Fellow. He's an arts journalist and reviewer. He edited Landfall and Landfall Review Online between 2010 and 2018. His collection, The Conch Trumpet, won the 2016 Ockham New Zealand Book Award for Poetry. He's received the 2016 Prime Minister's Award for Literary Achievement. I could go on, but why don't we just talk to David instead? Morena, great to have you with us, David. Thanks for coming.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to be here. Thanks.
First thing I wanted to do was show you a photograph. This is great for listeners, but there's a photograph taken at the Empire Tavern, probably early 80s, I would say, David.
Right.
You and Otis Mace, guitar ace.
Yeah, the Empire. Yeah, great venue back in the day, yes, 1980s, performing on the keyboards there, and Otis playing his guitar, and I guess we were doing a tour, as we did a lot of in those days, touring around New Zealand performing.
I brought that in because, you know, part of what we're doing here is celebrating a new release, a book of yours, which does take in work from, you know, across the decades, as it were. So when you look at a photo of yourself from the mid 80s, early 80s, what are you thinking? Who was David Eggleton then?
Well, it's a period artifact, isn't it, really, now, this type of imagery. But I mean, essentially I'm the same poet. I'm just kept on going, and all these years later, here I am with the laureateship, which I hold until the end of 2022. But I've always written about where I am, which is basically living in New Zealand and growing up here, and telling the story of ourselves. I like to think of it as a kind of a shared process. Poetry for me is all about communication. It's not really about confessional, emotional, personal tribulations and traumas and that, so much as it is about us as a society and as a nation and our collective wisdom or foolishness, however it may go. Yeah.
On a beach, covered in ashtrays, the ocean, the human faces can raise the earth, gnashed to render fragments in an instant, smashed power shell, shot through with luster, gilded baloney of tap. But what colour is that exactly? Groans the hell of the hydrothermal vent with expelled hiss of breath, scrupulous and tender green, or dust motes in a cave's beam,